For days now, leaders across the world, from different parts of the world, have been addressing the United Nations General Assembly in what is known as the 78th edition of the United Nations General Assembly. They are addressing the body, stating the position of their government on issues across the world. And this is not different from what have been ongoing since the creation of the United Nations General Assembly. Many have asked, and many keep asking, including our own African leaders, who for this edition have been firm in Africa's position as far as key issues across the world is concerned. But before we go to what our African leaders have been addressing the United Nations and stating their position is concerned, let us rhetorically look at what many have been asking as to the relevance of the United Nations and also the relevance of some agencies of the United Nations. Since the creation of this body, which was aimed at demystifying or reducing violence across the world, falling bond on nations, bringing equal distribution, and redefining policies in which the African continent will be put at the center and there will be redistribution of wealth. Many have been asking how democratic is a body that claims to champion democracy in the world. For far too long, 5 permanent members, we known being an African, have seats as far as the UN Security Council is concerned. And these are the members that determine the policies across the world. And with the veto of one, no policy will be voted or agreed upon. And Africa plays a key role in the world's economy, especially in the distribution of resources and also in the distribution of human resources. However, since the creation of this body, counting 78th edition of the United Nations General Assembly, African continent is yet to be a permanent member at the UN Security Council. The UN Security Council is also where the bodies determine what to go and where not to go when it comes to key policy issues. And for far too long, Russia, China, Britain, US, and also have been at the beck and call of making sure that they have this permanent membership as far as the UN General Assembly is concerned. And so many are asking the question that this body claims to champion democracy, but yet are undemocratic in terms of allowing Africa to have a permanent seat. And also many are asking the question that why is it that this body claims to do selective justice when it comes to resolving conflict across the world. The first was the invasion of Libya. Libya was invaded by members of the Security Council that was championed by the France as well as Barack Obama at the time under the US, in which Libya was invaded. And today, the situation in Libya is disastrous. Libya has been taken 30 years back in the modern democracy as opposed to 50 years forward in Gaddafi's acclaimed dictatorship by the West. We are seeing the floodgate of Lampedusa in Italy now being flooded with thousands of migrants, and the Italian government has warned that many arrivals will be registered in the days ahead. And these are passing through Libya, and within the days of Gaddafi, the migrant wave would have been stopped, if not reduced. Far from that, also many are asking the question, why is it that what happened in Chad has been supported by the United Nations General Assembly, but what is happening in Niger is not being supported by the UN General Assembly? These are two scenarios similar in the same vein, but different reaction. Of course, the UN General Assembly is painting us to understand that Newton's law of momentum that for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. In Niger, the military decided to take power in what they define as the people's government, back them. But in Chad, there was an assassination of the president Idris Deby, and the son took over. And the UN acclaimed that and of course declaim that which is happening in Niger. As we speak, the French government have refused to leave Niger, that they can only leave Niger on the orders of President Bazoum, whom is still under arrest, and the military is now leading the country. The Roman statute states that a country is independent and no country has a right to infringe on the territorial integrity of another nation. If that is the case, the Roman statute defines it as an invasion. As we speak, in terms of that statute, France is invading Niger. In no simple terms can we define that, because the French government have refused that the ambassadors will not leave Niger. They have refused that their military base will not leave. And if their military base is not out of Niger, the ambassador is not out of Niger, then what can we define that? The question many also are asking, is Niger a quarter in France or a province in France? The UN General Assembly, many seem not to have asked the French president this question as far as Niger is concerned. Many seem to have not looked at it because of their benefit in Niger. And now let's ask the question, in terms of Africans' participation, what do you think have been the participation of African leaders? African leaders have been crying like children. African leaders have been crying at the level of the United Nations. Let's begin with that of the President of South Africa. The President of South Africa, in his UN speech, was clear that enough is enough. The time has come when Western nations should stop counting their gross domestic product on the wealth of Africa, and that they should stop counting their riches on the human and natural resources in Africa. That was what Cyril Ramaphosa said. Let's come to Ghana. The president of Ghana, in his own speech, Nana Akufo-Addo, also made it clear that the UN has no place in defining and in lecturing Africans when it comes to the word democracy, because they themselves are undemocratic, because they themselves don't respect democracy, because members of the UN violate democracy in some parts of the world and violate the powers and constitution and territorial integrity of some nations across the world, and thus the UN has no mandate to define or to tell them what democracy is. And also, let's also look at the outing of Lazarus Chakwari in Malawi. The president of the Lazarus also was clear and asked a simple question, that for the next 50 years, none of us will not be president. What will become of the policy that will put in place? Also, let's get to President Felix Tshisekedi in Democratic Republic of Congo. The president of the Democratic Republic of Congo himself also called on the United Nations to remove all their troops in the northern part of the country. In fact, to withdraw their troops in the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to Felix Tshisekedi, the UN have failed in their mission in establishing peace and development, and also resolving the problem of insecurity in the Ituri region in the northern part. Instead, UN soldiers have been caught with violating human rights and also killing civilians, and so he wants that these UN soldiers to leave the country. The initial withdrawal was stated for 2024 December. According to Felix Tshisekedi, he said that should be done this December 2023. And also, let's go now to Mamadou Doumbouya, the military junta who is in Guinea-Conakry. He also made a speech in which he said that enough is enough, that this is no longer going to be the old African known by the West, that there is a new Africa, and that those who are doing unconstitutional coup d'etat are those whom the West are supposed to be held responsible, and that the West condole those who use unconstitutional means to loot the wealth of their nation and brandish them as Democrats, and that he did not wear his uniform for others to disrespect him, that they should respect the oath that the military took in defending territorial integrity. And he also made it clear that the democracy being forced by the West has not succeeded, and that Africa is not ready for that kind of democracy, and that the focus of every government is to ensure that the resources of the nation are distributed. Mamadou Doumbouya also made it clear that he has gotten to understand that the Western nations are putting pressure on other African leaders to steal their wealth and to compromise the values of their nation and their constitution. And that is why many dance to their tone. And that is why when coup d'etat occurs, they quickly brandish the coup d'etat as unconstitutional. And he stated that the time has come when Africa must be respected. In all of this, what is your position as far as Africa outing is concerned? Let us have your view in the course of this program. You can call us on the numbers on your screen. This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. Thanks for joining us on Happy Sunday. If you are just watching us, you're watching House of Commons. We need Tah Mai Jarvis as we await some of our guests who are yet to come. And the numbers on your screen, you can reach us, call us as far as that your position is concerned. And we are going to look at key issues. First, we are looking at patriotism in Cameroon. Patriotism in Cameroon, is it a myth or a reality? And we are also asking the question, what do you think is patriotism in Cameroon? Those of you watching us on social media, I want to say happy Sunday to all those of you who are watching us on the different social media platform. Happy Sunday to you. And also we acknowledge the fact that you are taking your time to actually watch us on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel. So we want to say happy Sunday to you who are watching us on the different social media platform. You can also leave a comment on our Facebook page in case you have an opinion contrary to what you think we have here in the studio. We are talking about Brain Wise. Happy Sunday to you, and happy Sunday to you also Gideon Ventinary. Happy Sunday to you also Marcus. Happy Sunday to all those of you who are watching us on the different social media platform. And so we are asking the question, patriotism in Cameroon, is it a myth or a reality? Oftentimes we are being told that patriotism is a respect for one's culture and fatherland, and also the respect of the Constitution and that constitutional duty that every citizen has when it comes to maintaining law and order, and also when it comes to respecting the rules of their individual community. It begins with that individual accepting the fact that he has a moral and political responsibility in ensuring that things work. To those who have been able to send us your messages so far, we want to acknowledge you. We want to acknowledge you, Julian. We want to acknowledge you, Cassin. We also want to acknowledge you who have sent your messages. And let me take on this one. This one says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Happy Sunday to you, Jarvis. I think patriotism in Cameroon is also a reality. It depends on how you look at it. To those who are patriotic, they think patriotism is all about singing the anthem. To those who seem not to be patriotic are those who tend to hold authorities responsible. I want to say thank you very much for your message. Also, when you send us your message, please keep it short and simple. It says, happy Sunday to you in the studio. Thanks for coming up. I thought the program was not going to hold today. We want to apologize for the technical start of today's edition of our program, and we hope that you will also continue in following up. This other message that reads, it says, happy Sunday, Jarvis. I am writing from Bamenda. Like the topic of today, patriotism. I want to start by stating that in the 90s, we were patriotic because we could see what the state was doing. But now patriotism to us has taken us down, because most of those who are supposed to respect our laws, I'm talking about our leaders, are not respecting them. And so patriotism to me is far from this nation. Maybe there will come a time when there will be patriotism, but as far as this is concerned, there is no patriotism. Okay, we want to also thank you very much. When you send us a message, please let us know where you are texting us from. We'll also take on this one which says, You can call us, feel free, you can call us to give us your opinion as far as patriotism is concerned, whether you think is this a myth or it is a reality. Happy Sunday to you all in the studio, watching from Bafmen. I am Yakubu, watching us from Bafmen. He says, happy Sunday to you. This other one right, he says, please, while you are writing us, keep it short and simple. Hello, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, sir.
I'm calling from Boya.
Yes, sir.
This is Peter from Boya. Do talk about patriotism.
Yes, sir.
I stand here to talk to shout out my voice out. There's no patriotism in this country. Patriotism in this country pertains only to those leaders, the CPDM and the rest of the people who hijack this country. There is this problem in the country, the Anglophone crisis. If this country was patriotic enough, this situation would have come to an end.
Okay, so what can we do to ensure that Cameroonians are patriotic?
Yeah, there are many Cameroonians who can be patriotic, but because of all this rubbish in this country, we cannot be patriotic in that manner.
So what can we do? What is your advice?
My advice is just that the powers that be should listen to the people and bring the people to the dialogue table so that we can forge a new Cameroon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have just been joined by NG Lucas, who is all the way from Boya. NG, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
We know it's not been an easy one for you to be here. Let's start the program. We are looking at the word patriotism in Cameroon. Is it a myth or reality? You listen to this caller who was talking about the fact that so bitter that patriotism has taken a different dimension. So do you think, what's your opinion as far as that is concerned?
Patriotism in Cameroon is a myth to a set of people and a reality to another set. If you listen to the people speak, especially if you work within the civil society, if you work in the civil society where you have to talk to people, understanding their opinions on things and asking them what they want, that you will get this very right. Looking at the situation on ground, if you were to, based on the number of young Cameroonians who desired to leave the country, and you compare to the Brits, you compare to the Americans, you compare to the Canadians,
even those in the Maghreb countries.
If you compare those in the Maghreb countries, go to Lebanon, go to Egypt,
Tunisia,
go to Tunisia and the rest. A few number of their young people will leave the country to another country. And this is where we say that the patriotism of Cameroon is not being killed by the person you always call the layman. I have so much respect for the people you call the common man, the layman, than those who think they are in high offices. I want us to look at the word patriotism itself and to look at whether we do represent that word in our day-to-day life, especially those who are supposed to be the propellers of our patriotic spirit, those who are supposed to be the pilot of the craft we are boarding with regards to the word patriotism. Basically, we are talking about devotion that goes around with that vigorous expression. Devotion and vigorousness. Let's look at, if you were to look at this particular word, then you would have noticed that when you talk about devotion, basically you're talking about loyalty and enthusiasm. You're talking about loyalty and enthusiasm. Now, who are the set of Cameroonians who are loyal, who are vigorous, who are enthusiastic in the management of the country? This is where you understand exactly why I said patriotism in Cameroon is a myth to a people and a reality to another people. Now, why the person down there talks about, I am going to die for my fatherland, There is another set of person who does not even want that person who is ready to die for fatherland to even see the light of the day. If they had the opportunity, they would have even taken their spirit when they die. Now, what am I saying in a nutshell? If you look at Cameroon, the way it is, for example, I want us to go back and look at the things that are happening. I will start with the head of state. I will move down to the prime ministry, and you break it right down to the divisional officers and everyone appointed. Then you will notice that when you talk about patriotism to these people, it's a myth. When you talk about patriotism to an ordinary Cameroonian, the person you call the layman, the common man, it's a reality. You see the love they have for the country. A vivid example could be you could actually see this when you look at the way we behave. Now, Jarvis, I want us to pick the aspect of the head of state. Does he really have that strong feeling? Because one of the attributes of a patriotic person is the strong feeling to ensure that your country at all costs should stay the way it has to stay. The love that you have, the investment that you have, the things that you protect. But what do we have in Cameroon? In Cameroon, when the patriotic ones identified embezzlers in the country, somewhere in the early 2000s, what was his response? Where is the proof? A patriotic person will not ask you where is the proof. He takes that, works on it, investigates it, and ensure that this person indeed committed this, and then bring them to Cameroonians and incarcerate them, and then Cameroonians should have that high spirit and that high sense of patriotism. Now, when he did ask where was the proof, later on in a few years, you notice that the same head of state was now sending persons to jail who have embezzled. But the same person who raised the issue of this person as embezzled, when he asked, where is the proof? The people began saying that, no, you cannot tell us that you are sending this person to jail because they have embezzled. Some hold it as an opinion that they are going to jail because they are his political opponent. Now you realize at the end of the day that he who is supposed to be the person who should propel the patriotic spirit that Cameroonians need, who should take the lead of the patriotic spirit that we need, rather was the person who asked a patriotic citizen, where is the proof? You will not ask where is the proof. In patriotism, what are the attributes of a patriotic person? Someone with a strong feeling. Someone who is always very enthusiastic in doing the things of his country. Now, when these things are said, it was in its place to ensure that the arm which is in charge to go down and carry out certain investigation should take these investigations and ensure that Cameroonians should know exactly what was happening. If you leave that sector and come to our roads, which is where I always decry, because today in our road, I'm coming from Boya, and part of the reason why I got late is because we had numerous checkpoints that did not even verify the card. They did not ask me for my ID card. It will shock you. They never asked for my ID card. They didn't ask for the car documents of the driver. They asked for money on roads that are very deplorable.
And there's a toll gate that's being constructed.
And there is a toll gate that is being constructed, which is said to be an electronic toll gate.
Where is the road?
That's exactly, this is where I was coming to. Now, where is the road from a patriotic citizen to put a toll gate in the middle of a highway, and they are expecting the people to pay? We pay toll when roads are constructed because we want to ensure that we maintain the road with the toll which is being paid. And in some cases, if you did take a loan, or if someone did construct this road and you have to refund the money which was used to construct the road, then you put a toll, you collect this toll, and you ensure that you salvage or you take care of that loan, you repay that loan.
And you maintain the road.
And you maintain the road. And this is not where we are, because the spirit of patriotism in Cameroon is being killed by persons who are supposed to be patriotic. If you look at the way they manage things, go down to several sectors. The public sector, look at the situation with which when someone is about getting job within that particular sector, how are these people treated? Who is treating the way they are being treated? Persons who are supposed to be promoters of patriotism. Now, the spirit of patriotism is required to be a spirit, or it requires promoters. And the promoters are supposed to be members of the government whom Cameroonians, through the election and the parliament in place that enacted the law and said this period is set out for election, and these people should elect these people. But they don't respect the people, and you cannot force these people to be patriotic. to be patriotic. So patriotism has to do with you who is in that high office ensuring and enforcing the law, with you being a respecter of the same law, to ensure that the person who is down there should have that spirit.
Now, Nji, I'll continue, but there's something I've raised there, that's the issue of road.
Yes.
It also got me worried when I went to for a spiritual retreat in the month of August. That we went to the major seminary in Banga, and when you are going to Banga, there's a new toll gate being constructed there, which is going to be an electronic toll gate, but the road is terrible. And I asked the question, how did we get to this extent where we prefer to construct a toll gate to collect money, of which there have been a toll gate in the area? That was a manual toll gate, and as we speak, there's also a manual toll gate in Miselele where it collects the money. So where have the money been going to? And that we come and construct, do we value more of money than the lives of people?
These are things which are being done by people who are not patriotic. I will shock you, Jarvis, that these persons are not patriotic. Now, this is the entire picture. You have a road constructed. You put a toll on the people. You place a gate to ensure that no one goes off and into that area without paying the toll. Now, when you have not constructed a road and you put a toll for the people to pay, now you are forcing these people because you think you have the instrument of the state at your disposal to use on them, not that you are using these things in accordance with the law. Now, someone would have said, yes, I am using the law in this case, and
hello, let me just pick this call. I'll come back to you. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I am trying to participate on Middle Prime.
Yes, sir.
I am J-Boy from Barenda.
Yes, sir.
There is no patriotism in Cameroon. I'll begin with my friend who is in the studio there. He has just said it all. It started with the president. They are killing people knowledge and service, and he knows the truth. He said, yeah, we are brothers and sisters, and he has not come down to his high horse to come and solve the problem. Secondly, we talk about 2-8. If you are in an office where they appoint paid members to go and work for the 2-8, they are even giving bribe to their bosses to go and work for the 2-8. If that 2-8 is being given to a contractor, I think it will be better for Cameroonians. Delhi, if you look at Enam, people who are in Enam, the magistrate, the treasurers, and so on and so forth, the administrators, when they come out, they go and even give bribes for where they will send them, where they can make money.
But these are just allegations you are raising.
No, but we are in the ground. Let me tell you what is happening. Let me tell you what is happening. Do you know that to be a patriotic Cameroonian, if you write against a director to a minister? Hello?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
And if you write to a minister against your director what he is doing, before the letter gets to the minister, they will remove the letter on the way, because all the directors, they have those who are seated there for them. Are you getting me?
I'm getting you.
Yes. So that is, in the course of the program, I'll be coming back. There are so many things.
Okay.
If I want to say, there are so many things to contribute.
Now my question to you is, are you patriotic from your own end, and what can be done to enforce patriotism if you think there's no patriotism in Cameroon?
Yes, at my own end, I think I'm doing my best. And
I'm getting you. I'm getting you.
I go to work at the given time. I close at the given time. I obey my boss. I do my assignment as it is given to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's my own way of patriotism.
Okay. So you were talking about the target.
Yes.
That using instrument of the state.
Yes, you get it. Now, when we have the instruments of the state at our disposal, where we can use the gendarme, we can use the army, we can use the B, we can use the police, we can use the municipal police, we can use the divisional officers, we can use the regional governors, at our disposal to enforce our will, you would have thought that that is being patriotic. No. What am I saying? We want to see the spirit. Now, one of the, like I said, it is a sense of attachment, a feeling that someone should have for his country. And you could be patriotic. It can be expressed in several things. It could be in culture. It could be in politics. It could be in language. It could be the way you do things, the way you handle others. It could be in your humanitarian activities and many more. However, the bottom line is that a patriotic citizen should be the one who respects the laws of the land and ensure that equity takes place in the management of the country and every single resource which is in the country for the good of all, without necessarily focusing on a set of persons that you would prefer to manage these things. And this is where I was saying that if we talk about patriotism, for example, now how can we have persons who have the sense, the feeling to stand on the roads that are not even there, to collect money that would have been used.
Where does the money go to?
Now, of course, we all know that those who stand on our roads, you have the gendarme and the police who stand on our road.
They're protecting lives and property.
To collect money.
They're protecting lives and property.
They are there to protect lives and property as the paper and their job description gives us. Now, when I talk about the paper, that is basically what we have.
So do you mean
the paper?
What they are telling us is that virtually to drive from Buea to Kumba, from Douala to Buea, you must give something along the way.
Now, there is no way you walk on that road as a taxi driver, as a public, using a public transport, and even some private transport without you stopping at Miselele to give these guys money. Now, when you leave my 17, as you engage my 14, it is very obvious. If you leave Bikoko and you are heading to the West region. Now, when I traveled to Bamenda last month, there was something I took note of on the road. We got to, immediately we were about engaging in Changhi. There is a certain checkpoint there. Now, when the driver told us that he was going to give money to those guys, and then I asked him, "Is for what?" I said, "Driver, do you have your car documents?" He said, "Yes." I said, "What is the purpose of this?" He said, "If you don't go there and give him that money, the guy will not open the rope. There's a cord across the road. It is not a fence per se." He said, "You cannot go above that." And then I said, "Why?" I said, "Is it that you do not have your document?" Because I boarded a certain agency, and I know that these agencies
have their complete document.
Have their complete document. And that is why they cannot carry excess in terms of the number of persons you should carry per seat. Now, so when this guy stopped and went down and gave that money, then I asked him, "Why did you give him money?" He said, "There, your car document or not, you give money." Now, someone has the feeling, the strong feeling as a patriotic Cameroonian to stand on the road. And when you come, you give him money. He put in his pocket. That money does not go to the treasury. Because every money which is paid in the treasury, it is money for Cameroonians.
But the question now we're asking, is it that their bosses are not aware of these practices? And second, is it that they are aware and they don't want to take action? Or is it that maybe somehow it's part of state policy? How do we, you are a civil society activist.
Yes, let me say what, sometimes we talk to these people and we want to ensure that they tell us what is right. Now, firstly, if you must have noticed in Cameroon, there is this aspect of do it the way you want when you are appointed. And it is quite systemic. You get it? It is quite systemic. And whatever is systemic, it takes a lot for you to weed it out. Now, this is what happens at the end of the day. That guy who is appointed or sent to the road, the boss will pretend he does not know exactly what is happening, but he knows. You get it? He knows. I have been where these guys sell illicit fuel. And in the evening, if you want to actually assert or if you want to corroborate what I'm telling you to get the facts on the ground, go around where these guys sell illicit fuel. Stay there as though you are not there to look at what is happening. Then there is something you will notice, that either a gendarme car will come and stop, or a police van will come and stop, and when they walk to those guys, they do what they call pay and jangi. And what shocks me is that the guys who sell illicit fuel, like the case which a young man called me to intervene in Boya, he said they have a union, and in that union, if you come in and you do not want to comply, they could have you detained. Then I was asking, where would you be detained? You will be detained on what? That you sell illicit fuel, or you will be detained because you have actually violated the rules of your union? He said, oh, the rules of your union. Then I said, who detains you? He said, one of the police stations will detain you there. And as I speak to you, that young man was detained. And when we were called to see what happened, then I noticed that this guy refused not to pay. He refused paying the amount which they levied on him, that everyone contribute this amount, because when these people come, we gather this and give it to them. They are bosses, they know these things we talk about. They know these things we talk about. And when you hang around these areas, you will notice that when these guys come, they'll give them what they call the Njange money. Now, monthly, they have what is considered to be the Njange money.
Okay, Song Derrick, one of our panelists, is on the line. Song Derrick, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tah Mai Jarvis.
Yes.
And good afternoon to Mr. Nji.
Yes, right on. Right on, Song Derrick.
6759.
Right on. Hello? Right on.
Yes, talking about patriotism. Talking about patriotism, I do think that patriotism is simply expression of love for one's country, expression of loyalty for one's country.
Yes.
But if you look at the situation in Cameroon, we want to ask ourselves, are we expressing love and loyalty, or we are killing the country? Because when you talk about loyalty, loyalty goes with providing what is necessary for the citizens, and the citizens doing what is necessary for the country to grow from strength to strength.
Okay, so it's a two-way thing.
It's a two-way. When we study in citizenship, we are told that there are duties of a citizen. Yes, there are duties of a citizens, and there are what the state has to do for its citizens.
Yes.
So the state has to build roads, hospital, take care of social amenity, necessity of the citizens, and the money is being embezzled. We're asking ourselves, is that a form of patriotism? Cameroonians love Cameroon.
6819.
Cameroonians really love the country. But the leadership in place is killing that love every day. And that is why they don't leave the country because they hate the country, and leaving the country because the country has disfathered them. The country has unfathered them.
When you say the country has disfathered them, the government has said they have been doing a lot in terms of regulating different sectors, in terms of ensuring that there is law and order, in terms of also ensuring that they provide basic amenities like water, electricity in some communities, light, and also in terms of ensuring that some health centers work effectively. And the government also claimed that also we outlined the fact that there have been a series of progress made as far as development is concerned, especially in the level of infrastructural development, in the domain of sports and the domain of other services like education and the creation of other institutions. Is that not what also the government has been able to do? Shouldn't we also say, yeah, the government has tried in that regard? When you say disfathered them.
68192066.
Hello?
Yes, Jarvis. Few months ago, on your platform you were discussing, there was a sensitive topic you were discussing, and that topic was 60 years after independence. Should Cameroon still be talking about electricity, water supply, and the likes?
Yes.
But what is 60 years after independence, we still do not have electricity, we still do not have water in our localities. We are asking ourselves, so 60 years, our leaders are unable to make sure that we have the basic necessity. How then are we talking about emergence in 2035? How then are we talking about industrialization when what is basic for industrialization has not been met? The issue is this. The level of embezzlement, if we believe that patriotism is affection for one's country, love for one's country, and loyalty for one's country, then why should those who love the country embezzle money, siphon money, lock up money in their rooms? If they lock up the money in their rooms, to me, that they are killing with one.
6819.
And that method kills more than the gun, because before the gun came, hunger has killed more people. And it is because of unpatriotism of those who think that should have been example to prove patriotism.
I will get to you. Hello? Hello? The network is not the best with Derek. Mr. Nji, you made mention of the fact that that sometimes our leaders, some of our leaders, are not doing something, not being fair to the nation, and that they actually milk the common man. And you said if there is a way that they can even take the spirit out of the common man when they die, they will do so. Why do you have that kind of assertion when we have ministers who keep on championing the fact that Cameroon is a state of law?
Now, let's go back to look at the situation that surrounded the COVID-19 era. You would have noticed that there are persons who were investigated for alleged embezzlement of the COVID-19 funds. And you shouldn't forget that persons in Cameroon had embezzled funds that were meant to fight HIV and AIDS. So when you embezzle money meant to fight a disease which is likely to become something that may affect every household in Cameroon, what does that mean? Would you then say that you are patriotic? Because patriotism encompasses a lot of things, and I want to believe that those who are patriotic cannot embezzle, should not be embezzlers. If you go to look at the Kondengi prison, you will notice the number of Cameroonians who are in there who had held high offices, and some of these persons told us that we should be patriotic. Some of these persons told the man down there that he should be patriotic. Like I said, when you look at the situation, you will notice that patriotism to the persons on high horses is a myth, while unto that person who is not on a high horse, it is a reality, because you see his love for the nation. Now he is asked to pay his taxes, he will pay his taxes. He goes to the market with that little basket of cocoyam, and they come with the council tax, he will pay. When he goes to buy that Maggi cube, he is asked to pay value-added tax to whatever good that he consumes, he will pay. Now, where does he have the latitude to embezzle? That is the question. Who embezzle in this country? Who is charged with the management of the affairs of this country? That is the question. So you realize that some of these people, the way they behave, if they had the opportunity that when the man down there who pays the absolute price for their wonderful life they live, if they had the opportunity to take even their spirit, should they pass on, they will take that. Now these are the expressions. Like I said, now when you stand on our road and you see a governor coming, you see a divisional officer when they are coming, how are the others treated? How are they treated? Do that resonate patriotism?
Just clear the route, eh?
They tell you to leave, and in
liberate.
Good. Now, who should be expressing love? Who should be patriotic? That someone who comes out, pay the tax, which the money is being used to buy the car that you use. They buy your armor car with that money that the person provides. When you take a loan, it is the person who pay that money, who pays for the loan, the person who pays because he pays the taxes which he pays. And when you are using that car on the road where he is, you see him as a piece of rubbish. You tell him to liberate la route. You shout at him. You bully him. When you take his child and lock up, when he comes and tells you that the law says you should set my child free once he is not found guilty by the court, you tell him to give you bribe. You say you have to pay bail.
Bail is free now, Angie.
Who is patriotic?
Yeah, you have a legal understanding. Bail is free.
Bail is free in the Republic of Cameroon. But not everyone is set, or not everyone is released when you are in police or gendarme custody for free. Do you get it? A few weeks ago, when the sad situation happened in Moya, there was a raid. There are people in Moya who paid huge amount of money before they could be released.
But what was their crime?
That's a question. What was their crime? After a raid, you lock up a people who are supposed to be expressors of patriotic spirit, people who are supposed to be promoters of patriotism. And when you lock up people whom you think should be respecters of the word patriotism or to be patriotic, now when you lock them up, when you want to release them, you tell them, give me 25,000, give me 50,000.
Is that not ransom? Is that not kidnapping?
I said it some time ago that if the terrible guys in the bushes take people, go there, behead them, kill them, maim them, rape them, and ask for money, and you who is supposed to be the one who champions patriotism, you that gendarme officer, you that police officer, when you bring these people in and remand them, and when it's time to release them, you ask them for money. What difference are you with those guys? Because you are supposed to be the promoters of patriotic spirit. You have to be the one who champions the patriotism we talk about this country. And I was asking these questions. When you look at the situation, it is no news that Your Excellency cannot take you to certain institutions, be they ENAM, be they ENS, be they having a job, be it having a job within the country, be it having a job within the government, at a certain top job, at a certain low job, you have to go there. Someone needs to ask you for money. You have to give someone money before that is done. Even when you are on a mission to ensure that Cameroonians should live the way they have to live, there are people who still think that you have to come and give them bribe.
Let's take on this call. Please be civil when you call us. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, right on.
I'm following the program, and I think that what my brother is saying there is very, very pertinent as far as patriotism is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Well, the truth is that we can say there is no patriotism in the country based on what the people managing the country are doing.
Yes, sir.
Because, like he mentioned, at the police station they will charge you for bail, even though you have been. There is no charges placed on you. That is, I can say that is kidnapping. That is kidnapping. The police also are doing kidnapping in a coded way. If they arrest you from the street or anywhere without a crime, and then fine you, place a charge on you, a fine on you for you to bail yourself, is kidnapping. It's the same thing the guys in the bushes are doing. They kidnap you and then ask for ransom. It's the same thing. It's just that because it is the police, we think that they have the right to do that. No. So there is no patriotism. What I can say that patriotism exists is just a hypothesis. Nobody is patriotic in this country.
So are you saying that you yourself you are not patriotic in this country?
No. At my personal level.
Because you just said nobody.
Yeah, at my personal level, I can say nobody because why? I can say nobody because my patriotic actions have no relevance in the country. Nobody will see what I am doing. Nobody will take it as though it is important. So it's not necessary. My patriotic actions have no influence in the country. So that's why I say there's nobody who is patriotic. Because, like my brother said, somebody would be patriotic, then he will have the patriotic spirit to protest for the government. But nobody will recognize what he's doing. Rather, they will seek a rival to the people who are supposed to do what he's trying to do. So there's nobody who is patriotic from the top to the bottom. There's nobody that has actually acted in a patriotic way. Since I started growing up, everybody is looking for his own personal gain. Where I am, I must benefit. It's not. I don't care what others feel. I don't care what where the country is going. It is my own benefit. That is what is in the mind of everybody.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I want to participate in the program.
Yes. Right on. Yes. Right on.
Hello.
Yes. Right on. Afternoon.
Okay, my contribution is that they have reversed the patriotism. It is now the negative side that they are being used. For example, if a citizen goes to the road and says that the road is now not controlled by the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Agriculture, because of the bad state of the road. All those who are using the road, the bicycles, the truck, the Okada riders, the vehicles, the tires are being bad, and it starts with a call for the Congo Revolution and says they don't want us to die, and he's put in prison till today. And those who steal money, billions of money from Cameroon citizens are sent out for special training, then there's no patriotism. If a person like Joseph Paul Abine stands and says no, he cannot support this attitude against the Anglophone, and the salary is suspended, and those who have stolen billions are protected, then there's no patriotism in Cameroon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe I take some messages before you react to what the previous caller said, in terms of when he said no one is patriotic, and also the fact that his patriotism will mean nothing. I want you to react to that because you are a member of the civil society. This one writes, this patriotism in Cameroon is just on paper. Who is fooling who? Is from Ngong Waters, writing in Kumbu. This one writes, he says, if African leaders are serious, they should as one people start by withdrawing from the UN. And this one was reacting to the editorial that I had a while ago. Good morning to you all. It is Tombell. This one writes, good afternoon, happy Sunday to you. Good afternoon and happy Sunday to you. Sir, I want to honestly say that everything in Cameroon is a myth. Water, roads, light, decent health facilities, communication network, education system, good standard of living, jobs, basic feeding opportunity, job offer, peace, truth, security, justice are all myths. A general feels like, sadly, Benny writing from Douala. Benny, a message is gotten. This one right, it says, Jarvis, please pick my call. I will pick your call, just that sometimes please, when you call us, be civil, be a bit responsible in the words you use, because we want to ensure that pass your message. When you call us, go straight to your message and don't attack people personality. State your facts as you think, not people's personality. I think that we are all responsible citizens. Patriotism begins by also you respecting someone's personality, but not his action. Rene from Bamenda, Happy Sunday Jarvis, and the panelists in the studio. The state of patriotism in Cameroon is at a very lowest level. This is because there is inadequate distribution of national cake. Again, corruption has eaten the fabric of patriotism in Cameroon. For example, when crossing from West Region to Northwest Region through Bangolang in West Region, all passengers do pay compulsory 500 francs at gendarmerie control, whether you have national identity card or not. I don't know. Did you pay that 500?
Well, I can't recall paying that.
Okay, maybe it's a developing story. Please, we'll take your calls. Just hold on. Let's take on these messages. We'll take your call. Good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis, and happy Sunday in the studio. To me, patriotism in Cameroon is off topic and remains an illusion in a country where thieves, corruption, mediocrity, discrimination, egocentrism, siphoning of state funds, and singing of songs of worship to the head of state are considered as ingredients of patriotism. Then I conclude without fear of contradiction that there is no patriotism in Cameroon. I pray for a better Cameroon where people will truly love the nation and not the interests of their interests and pockets. Mr. Rifo Jodene writing from Goundere. Thank you very much, Jodene, from Goundere. This one right, it says, good day to you in the studio, in the house. I like your program. Have a blessed Sunday. Thank you very much. Come from Anonymous in that. Good afternoon to you in the studio. Good afternoon to you in the panel. You just mentioned a checkpoint at Sancho going to Njang. I witnessed a case in that same checkpoint. I was not happy. A police officer was harassing a driver of CBC hospital from Bamenda that he was not having number plates. We'll take your calls, please. Just hold on. Let me read on some messages. This one says, greetings to you guys in the studio. Patriotism is love and dedication for your country. Our leaders are not setting good example. This is coming from Primus Lamjo. Primus Lamjo, your message is gotten. This one right, it says, hello Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis. I love Mr. Nji analysis on this topic. If the top was serious, we could have been far. Corruption and bad handling of citizens. I am Pankeng in Bangolang. This other one right, it says, happy good morning and happy Sunday. I am Otia Jefferson writing from Douala. The respect of one fatherland is what we term as patriotism. It's far myth than reality, because those who make laws goes against the same law. Why would it not even be so when they make us to understand that all birds are equal, but some are more equal than others? How patriotism would people be when the harm is occupied with French puppets who transform the minds of its citizens who actually owned the land? That is coming from Otia. I wanted to react to the person who called us, who talked about the fact that his patriotism will mean nothing else. Echo Robert from Douala, greetings to you in the studio. Our leaders are not patriotic, but they are forcing the common man to remain patriotism. Is patriotism only limited to state?
No, you know, the major reason why we see this patriotism should be coming from the state is because when you look at the situation, you are expecting someone who is there to enforce the law. When you enforce the laws of the land, you get the people patriotic. The Americans are this determined because they understand that no matter what happens, Donald Trump is brought to court. Now, when you sit, for example, and you want to do exactly what he did. Now, I want to say that the group that Donald Trump, that supported Trump by that certain period on the 20th of January 2020, January 2020, some members of that particular group have apologized. Now, what is the reason? My interest is not their apology. My interest is the sense of patriotism in their country pushed them to go to the street. And when they noticed that they were now protecting the wrong thing, as it happened, they have come out and they have apologized. Now, this makes you who sits there to see reasons with them that at this moment, this person is very humble to see things the way they are. if we do not understand some of the very key words used in giving us patriotism, then it will be difficult. Now, it talks about what? It says it is the quality of being, it talks about devotion, support for one's country. Now, when you are devoted to do the right thing, it causes the man whom you want him to cue in to easily do so. But when you are devoted in doing the wrong thing, it becomes very difficult. Jarvis, I want us to get the reality the way it is. You see, when we scrapped off the presidential term limit, it killed the spirit of patriotism in Cameroonians. When President Biya came up and in the 90s became so liberal and adhered to all conventions signed with regards to human rights, which ushered in freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of the press, and the rest, multipartyism and the rest, it boosted that spirit that was in Cameroonians. Most Cameroonians got the understanding that Cameroon is their country. When the elections in the 90s came up, the presidential elections and the turnout of it, most Cameroonians began losing their patriotic spirits, which they had. It was destroyed in 2008 when we decided to remove presidential term limits. It destroyed everything that Cameroonians had as a patriotic spirit. Even those who benefit from this same system, be they some of the ministers. I tell you the truth, to be a minister in Cameroon, like the guy who runs to, or who is currently in America, who left with claims that he was sick, the former Minister of Agriculture, Esimi Menye. Can you remember? Esimi Menye left the country that he was sick, and it was alleged that Esimi Menye had the American nationality. No Americans will accept even the British nationality if they are that patriotic. They are aware, because to go to Britain is okay to them. The Brits will give the Americans easy passport. In fact, I want to believe that the way it happens is like you leave the room A of the same apartment, you move to your room B of the same apartment. When you talk about Americans. Now, to imagine that we have some persons who are Cameroonians of high offices who had another nationality of another country, how do you expect them to be patriotic? And how do you expect the other person to see and emulate that spirit of patriotism?
They will have Cameroonians to whom even if you give them American nationality, they will not take.
It's a lie. I'm here to see that.
Have you given me an American nationality?
It's okay, but I'm here to see that. Because I'm here to see that. I'm here to see that. Okay? Yes. Now, you know, we always, it's a myth. When it comes to that, it's a myth. Now, what am I saying here? Like the caller who called and said, he does not have the spirit of patriotism, and he thinks it will be a waste if he has to have that strong feeling for and love for one's country. My brother, I want to say that no matter what these guys are doing, remember I said from the beginning that you and I have such a spirit of patriotism. You and I, we are doing our best to actually practice it, and I want to call on you to continue with that. We are only saying that if you look at the actions which some members of our government, some members of our uniform guys are doing, you would notice that the spirit of patriotism is lacking in them, because the sense of patriotism, if it's practiced, there are things you will not do. You cannot stand on the road when you know that the money you are collecting is not going to the state coffers to cater for all. It goes to your private pocket and you collect money. That is not patriotism. When you know that Cameroon says bail is free except in a case where the courts decide that the person should pay an amount, then you see that person who is asked to be set free and you ask that person for money. That's something else. Let me share with you an experience. Some young persons were bundled in the My 16 neighborhood, locked up at the Moya police district. And when I went there as a human rights defender, I was actually sent by the commission, because I went there as a focal person there. I went there and I was asked to go to Moya to understand why these guys were being detained and to ensure that everything, their rights should be respected. Now, I met one uniform guy who said, I have to take them on bail. And when I asked him, what do you mean that I should take them on bail?
it was my Media Prime.
Yes, it's my Media Prime TV.
Yes, I want to participate in your program.
Right on, sir. Be civil.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Where are you calling us from? What's your name?
No, I'm calling from Limbe. My name is Valentine.
Yes, sir.
Calling from Limbe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to participate in your program.
Right on, sir.
Okay. Okay. From the definition of patriotism, it is loyalty to the fatherland.
Yes, sir.
Loyalty to the fatherland. So many Cameroonians, that spirit of patriotism has died. It has died because those who are supposed to practice patriotism, the spirit has just died in such a way that I cannot even explain. Look, presently there is a crisis in the northwest and southwest region, and the francophone who usually uses this slogan that "Vive ensemble."
Yes, sir.
Our brothers, this is our sisters. Yes, the government should talk with them so that we can see how we can forge and move forward. No way. And the people, the few people who are patriotic, when they want to express their patriotism, they will catch them that they are terrorists. So, and from the motto of our in Cameroon, peace, work, fatherland. There is no peace. There is no work. The father, question mark. Land, Boko Haram is fighting in the north. Ambazonia is fighting in the northwest and southwest region. So, Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis, I just wanted to end like this.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Mr. G, you were talking about the issue of my 16. That some youths were arrested.
Yes, you get it. Now, when I got to Moya, the investigator said you have to take them on bail, and when I said, okay, what is involved, and money was mentioned, and I left there. I went to the state council. The rapporteur, we went to the state council, and the state council did justice. The state council expressed his patriotism, which is in him, how patriotic he is. And I went back to Moya, and the guys were like, you went, I had to go and see the boss, and things like that. I said, no, we are a state of law. Cameroonians should enjoy being in Cameroon. And when I said most Cameroonians who want to leave Cameroon, it's because if you look at the way those who are charged with the management of the country should manage the people, they don't manage them to that point where they should be happy to stay around. Look at the level of migration. Young Cameroonians want to migrate. They want to leave the country. Even old ones want to leave the country. Why? Because no matter what they do, it hurts for you to see someone telling you to pick up this pen and the person is not picking up the pen. It's hard for you. You cannot swallow it. It's very difficult. But I was talking to the person who called earlier that no matter what happens, I still believe that this should not kill the spirit of patriotism.
Because you have your own responsibility.
Yes, because you do have. Now, it talks about what? Your devotion, your support for your country. Now, do not stop supporting the country, because someday, the people you do not like today in power, they will be voted out. And when they are voted out through the ballot boxes, it will be easier for you to enjoy your spirit of patriotism, because it is your constitutional right. You must not like what the government is doing. Take note, it's your right. You must not like what the government is doing, and you can decide and like what the government is doing and support it. But if you do not like what the government is doing, you have the right not to do the wrong thing. Respect the law. Ensure that you follow the law of the land. The Constitution of Cameroon, the law of the country, is above the government in place. And so you should not feel bad in doing the right thing because the government in place is not doing that which is correct. This is what I tell most young Cameroonians, because these are a set of people who easily get tired. They feel like, oh, it is no longer going, and what purpose should I be doing this? For what reason should I be doing this? And I think you should not feel bad in doing what is right. If you have to get up and you need to pay your taxes, pay your taxes. Don't be troubled. There will be a day when those who do not want to be patriotic, those who do not want to follow the laws of the land, when that moment comes, they will be the ones to comply.
Okay.
Now we have some of them already. They're in Kondengi. Okay, some are already in Kondengi. So don't feel bad in doing that which is right. Love the country. Have your strong feeling and your love for the country. It's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone on the panel.
Good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I am Batty Allen calling from Mansi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, I am calling from Mansi.
Yes, sir.
I am saying that patriotism in Cameroon, for those who are in government, cannot be real because we know that we do not have a country.
Yes, sir.
Their lives, they make us to understand that we have a nation. Meanwhile, we don't have a nation. This Cameroon belongs to the French. And so those who are in government know that the best thing they should do is secure their own interests and carry the rest of what they want to carry to where they want to go and stay. Because Cameroon does not belong to Cameroonians.
What do you mean that Cameroon does not belong to Cameroonian? Are you not a Cameroonian by birth and by right?
Cameroon is not an independent nation, my brother. Are we independent?
What do you mean by that?
Of course we are. We have an army. We have an army. We have a government. We run our affairs. I think we are independent, but for the fact that we have persons who have decided to perpetrate wrongs, which gives us that impression that we are not independent. Yes, we understand that neocolonialism is in place. We understand that they are coming through multinationals to control us, and it doesn't actually cancel the fact that we are independent. We have a president. We do not have a French High Commissioner to Cameroon as the president.
And we have the decisions that we take as an international nation.
We have a parliament.
Yeah, we have a parliament.
We have a senate.
We have a senate, so you
Yes.
cannot claim that Cameroon is not an independent state. Besides, Cameroon is not a French colony. And so we cannot say Cameroon is not a French colony, neither a British colony.
Yeah.
Cameroon was under a protectorate. And from a mandatory territory B
right.
to a protectorate.
That's
and
right.
so you cannot claim that Cameroon is not independent. And that's why we say people should be responsible in what they say, because we cannot just claim that Cameroon is not an independent state. Yeah, we understand that there is no colonialism. And that's why we said we watched the UN speeches from the African leaders who have been lamenting on this aspect. Take on some messages. It says, please, is the human rights agent, please, for the human rights agent's number, Edmond, a student from Tombe, writing. This one says, good afternoon, Jarvis and panelists. There is patriotism, relatively, there is patriotism in Cameroon, portrayed by the common man who pays the tax, but suffers more and has no right to complain. Short-lived the unpatriotic majority of Cameroonians, especially the leadership in all the scale. Felix writing from DOP. This one right, it says, good, hello, what is the meaning of patriotism? Ms. Angie just said that now. Good afternoon to you guys in the studio. When people are better placed to gamble with state funds in their end and frustrating ordinary Cameroonians, they pretend to preach patriotism. Only family members of those running this Cameroonian go around duping citizens that they are unpatriotic. This other one right is happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Ba Raul of CRM, happy Sunday to you. And also we are in Bamenda. This one right, he says, good afternoon, I like the platform that this patriotism is being patriotic. I like your platform that this platform is being very patriotic. But in Cameroon, when you are patriotic as you are there, you put yourself into problem. Like you are talking there when you say things as they will call you up. So this is J-Boy writing from Bamenda. This one says, good afternoon. This is from both Job in Bamenda. Good afternoon, and the essence of this topic is on air at my media palm explained to the very extent that the spirit of patriotism is pregnant with blockage. Tribalism has become the criteria in governance. Corruption, illicit finance flow of taxpayers' money, developmental priorities is discriminatory, electoral fraudulence, fundamentalism and also what you have ruined the nation. Political tension in the order of the day. A country with such manifestation overloaded indication of the loss of patriotic spirit coexistence is now a political plea. Thank you very much. We are running out of time, and because we are running out of time is good enough for us to have maybe just one or two messages. We have about 1 minute to go. So we want to also appreciate those of you who have been writing us, who have been calling us. So Nji, you have listened to them. Your last word before we take leave of you.
Yeah, all I would say is that no matter what is happening in the country, we still should not dump it. Yeah, we'll talk about devotion, sense of attachment to one's country. That is the basic definition of patriotism. That's simply what patriotism is. Devotion, sense of attachment to one's country. And you have that strong feeling that Cameroon is yours. Yes, we are aware that a lot is not going on the way they have to. I want to say that I know many of you may not resonate with me on this. Let us stay hopeful and ensure that we have our voters' card and ensure that someday these people be booted out through the ballot boxes or whatever way God will decide for Cameroonians. I think this is basically what is going to be good for us. Now, we are saying here that let those who have been given the job to manage this country respect it and be patriotic. To the police boss, be they the regional boss, the subdivisional boss, the divisional boss, go down to the field. Look at what your elements are doing. To the gendarmes, look at what they are doing. And for the army whom you have been sent, especially because this is quite recurrent in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, you will notice that most of you guys, when you come, you are harassing young girls. You are asking for identity card when you are not supposed to. In the presence of the army and the gendarme and the police should be asking Cameroonians of their ID card. This is within our law. And we want to have you guys respect the people as it ought to be. This will enable the spirit of patriotism, that the sense of attachment. It will grow the sense of attachment. Cameroonians will want to see reasons more with you why they should love the country, why they have to be there. If you are that government official, you have been put in that office, do not think it's yours. It is a public office. Respect those who are coming there. You will boost their patriotism. Those who have been given that spirit. There is a set of people, Tah Mai Jarvis, in the days of the American War of Independence, they called them the bounty patriot. Their patriotism was tied to that bounty that they were receiving because they considered the people to be persons whom they were now receiving bounty on their heads. And whenever they went out to fight, they were fighting because they wanted that this bounty should be given to them. We do not want to see you guys calling yourself patriots of the country, whereas you are one of these bounty patriots. We want to see real patriots of Cameroon. Okay. We want to see people who love the country the way they should love the country. If you are put at the treasury, do that what is right. If you are the governor, do what is right. If you are the minister, do what is right. So you will boost the sense of patriotism. If you are a member of parliament, don't go there and be clapping for yourself. Don't go there and be praising your party. Ensure that you take the people's interest as it ought to be, and you will boost their sense of patriotism. Okay. If you are the senator, before the bill leaves the lower house to come to you, you have to respect that. So the people will have the sense of patriotism.
Patriotism is not just the singing of Cameroon's national anthem. It is not just the playing to gallery of peace, work, fatherland. It is not just the ability of saying I love my country. It is the ability of respecting the rules and regulations set in by the state. Also the ability of us to understand that the Constitution remains supreme and that the Constitution remains the #1 document. We are all called upon as citizens and lovers of the nation to abide and do our own job. And as a citizen, you also have your responsibility to the state, and as the state has its responsibility to you. So brothers and sisters of the other side of the eye, whom you and I share the same jurisdiction and the same occupation, caption the common man, let us also play our duty and responsibility. Love our brothers and sisters in the quarters, treat them rightly. If we are supposed to dump garbage somewhere, let's go and dump it there. Let's not dump it indiscriminately, because the leaders will come and go. Our nation will stay. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis on Cameroon's commercial capital, Fengu, John Bange, Douala. In case you want to be a member of this panel, you can join me on the contact me on the number on your screen. You want to participate on our debate. We apologize for not having Barrister Nkea and also Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, and also we're supposed to have Barrister Nkea. Unfortunately, he had an emergency on his way to the studio, and also with Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel was also supposed to be here. He had an emergency. He called me at the nick of time when we were almost getting to the studio that he will not be able to make it because of an unforeseen. Thanks very much, Desmond, Akeba, and also Allen, and all those who took our time to produce this program. This will come up next week Sunday. I leave with this: no matter the matter, what matters is your matter, and what should matter for you is that remain patriotic for the nation and not for those who think will come and go. Bye-bye.